Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is LeRae.
And I am Heather.
And you are listening to the Breakthrough Podcast.
All right. We want to start today out with a promise to just encourage everyone out there and give everyone something to focus on. And it's being pulled from Exodus 14:14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only be still. Just take a moment and breathe that in. The Lord will fight for you. You need only be still. So whatever you're going through right now, whatever heartache, whatever pain, whatever frustration, whatever anger, whatever situation is just holding on to you, just remember that you are not in it alone. That God has promised He will fight for you. Just take a moment, be still, and know that He is God.
Yes, I love it. It's in that gentle stillness that we really learn to listen for His voice and really learn to encounter Him. Speaking of someone who knows what it means to just kind of be still and just know that He is God. Joining us today is Mark. Mark is actually going to share a little bit of his story and just kind of what God's been doing in and through his life and just how God's been using him up to this moment. So, Mark.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome, man. We're so glad to have you here. And I remember before you went off to YWAM when we had the meeting up here. Wow. Yeah, and you were like just so on fire and like just hearing you talk. Actually, funny enough, Clay took a video of me with like one of those little filters in it. It's like little romance music or whatever.
Clay is one of our pastors, by the way.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. So like he totally took a video of me just like zoomed in. Because I was just like listening so intently, like I never blinked. Like I saw myself from Clay's phone, just watching. Because he just drew me in, man. And it's, which is why, like when it was brought up to have you come on here, I was so about it. I was yes, absolutely, get that guy in here. Just fill us with that wisdom, man.
Awesome. Yeah. So Mark, tell us your story. What's YWAM, Youth with a Mission? Tell us a little bit about your experience in YWAM.
Well, they really do build their foundation on having a relationship with God. It's not all a bunch of doctrine, but it's not too little of the Bible also. Like they actually take the time and point you back to the Lord. They don't just give you all the answers like right off the bat, which is good. They have you figure things out with the Lord and learn to hear His voice and kind of guide you through the process to becoming closer to the Lord.
Yeah. How were things like before you went into YWAM? What was your life like?
I want to say before we get started in all this, Jesus is your teacher.
Amen.
Do not take anything I say or anything anyone else says at face value, because sometimes people get it wrong. And Jesus is always your teacher. I could say something that I'm gonna say, wow, in 20 years, I didn't know that. That was completely wrong. So always go back and bring it back to the Lord when you're learning things. Don't just take it for what it is, but actually bring it back to the Lord.
That's right. That's what His Word is for, and searching His Word and making sure that whatever someone is teaching you, whatever somebody says, it lines up with God's Word. That's awesome admonition, Mark.
So in that, I completely forgot the question right now. So what's the question?
Tell us a little bit about your story. What led up to YWAM?
I can remember that before I went to YWAM, I had a lot of really deep inner struggles. I was never at peace, and it's almost like there is kind of almost a tearing going on inside my spirit, and I learned a little bit more about what that was later. It was definitely a lack of peace. It was something that I couldn't get away from, and it was always there. Over the years of trying to pursue the Lord, I grew very angry with Him because I didn't understand Him, and I was like, what's wrong with you? Like there's all these terrible things happening. what's wrong with you? Why can't you just fix that? You're supposed to be all powerful. And I really struggled with the triune, all-knowing, all-wise, all-powerful, all-loving kind of deal. And it wasn't until I took School of Kingdom Ministries that finally someone was able to give me a straight answer as to more of the covenant, how it's individualized, and how the Lord is working in and through us. And he's not just being on the sidelines, but he's actually in it. He actually is getting dirty with us. And one thing that I never really thought about, but I kind of realized a small bit of a rabbit trail, was that whenever someone is sinning against you or hurting you, that's also hurting him just as much as it's hurting you, if not more, because he has unlimited room to be hit because he's an unlimited God. So a little
That's
bit of
awesome.
perspective on justice is mine.
Yeah.
Vengeance is mine. So because it's two ways. He's upset that they're doing it and upset that you're being harmed. So small rabbit trail. But that
We
was
do
one
that
of
here
the,
just a little.
Yeah,
Oh,
just a little bit.
yeah.
It's all relative here.
Yeah.
we kind of went that direction. Okay. But yeah, and that was one of the things that helped me learn about his kindness and how he actually is involved. I kind of learned about that through Sockham. And that's when my fire really started, because I had always sought the Lord throughout the years, and I never found him until that class. That class is when I really started to get a hold of him and really started to get a grasp on him. Through that, my fire for the Lord really began to become lit again. It was really on the verge of dying right before I was about to go do just crazy stuff. I was like, man, God, if you don't come and rescue me soon, I'm gonna go into the partying lifestyle, and that's gonna be what happens, because I can't do this thing where I'm waiting for you and hoping you show up eventually. So in that moment, he really did meet me in that moment of like completely, I really do need you to show up. We really are kind of.
So basically, you were raw and honest with him.
Yeah, which, I mean, it was really, yeah, that needed to happen. So I praise God he met me then. And so he took me into Sockham, and after that, I went to Alaska as a fisherman for 3 months, and that was an excellent time. I was surrounded by nothing but his nature and everything he created, and it was really beautiful, and it was amazing. I really enjoyed that, and it gave me time to read my Bible while I was out there. I probably could have read it a bit more, but I did.
You were in Alaska.
I was definitely enjoying his creation. Oh, it's so beautiful, you guys. But it gave me time to sort of get a small taste of his peace. It was nothing compared to what I got later on, but I really got time to. I got a little shield of away from the world, away from technology, and away from anyone who could do me any sort of harm.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to just be with the Lord and just be in his creation and just see what it was meant to be. Like it's us harvesting fish and being in his creation. Like, what else is there? So I came back, and I had my eyes on a YWAM for a couple years, because back when I was like, I'm just going to go do this partying lifestyle if you don't show up, I was like, okay, so we're not going to do that. Deep down, I'm like, I know we're not going to do that. And so I was like, I just want to do the most intense thing I possibly can for and with the Lord. So YWAM was that opportunity. It was a 6-month program, a DTS, Discipleship Training School. And it's a 6-month program where we were surrounded by peers around our same age who have the same goals, who are under the same roof in a community that loves God. So it's not just like some random community out there, but like these people have been trained in the Lord, and they're all here for the same purpose. Like, and so there was really a power in unity there, and I was really excited to be a part of that and to learn what that had, what was going to be in store. Like what is it the Lord has that I don't know about that I'm going to find out about while I'm there. So it was something wild, like $3,500. I needed to fundraise. It was some crazy amount. And I'm like, okay. So by the time I actually was like getting over my fear of what it's gonna be like it's exciting, but it's also, what if we do have complete success or complete failure? What's that gonna look like? That's kind of crazy. And so it was a little bit frightening, even knowing it was going to be good. Kind of wondering what the Lord has for me. It was still kind of an iffy. Like, what's it really going to be like when you get there? You're there for 6 months, and you're living with these people, so good luck if you don't like it. So, but we did. We managed to fundraise everything with wonderful people like Lorray. Lorray's a pretty
Shout
great
out.
guy. Shout out to co-host Lorray. But,
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
But yeah, we did, and that alone was probably the first struggle I faced. Not even at YWAM yet, was the fundraising, because we really got down to the wire, and we did have quite a bit left to fundraise. I think it was around 1,000 left, and I think I had like a week. I had like a week left, and I'm like, okay, so I'm pretty sure he called me here, but your provision isn't matching up with that. And he was like, so I did some praying, and I continued to fundraise anyhow, because I'm like, I'm freaking going to this because I can't do anything else. I need to do something. And I was about to flip out. I'm like, oh my God, I need to do something. and so...
The struggle of faith.
Yeah. It was the last 4 days. A lot had been provided. And living expenses had been provided. But I was still short a pretty decent amount. And I was like, okay. And I was praying. We were down to the last few days, and I'm like, okay, we're down to the wire, Lord. We need to get this. Yeah, and so that was the first kind of battle I had to go through, and we did fundraise all of it. I think with a little bit extra. I'm not exactly certain, but that's kind of where it started. And experience in YWAM.
So God's provision and
yeah, that
Yes.
was probably the first struggle I went through.
So with I know that there's so many things about.
It would be like drinking from a fire hydrant if I tried to say everything at once. It really would
So, if you could say one of the biggest things that you took away from your first adventure with God in YWAM, what would you say stands out the most to you?
Dang, man. If I'm being honest, YWAM was great, and there was a ton of hard work, and I really do know the Lord better, but I don't exactly remember a lot of things that happened there, because there really were things that just stuck out so far above everything else. It's like everything began to fade away. Everything else just began to fade. And those were the moments where I really finally got to know, I knew, I was told that God was good from different things in Sockham, had some crazy encounters with the Lord there. But out of everything in YWAM, it wasn't any of the classes that I took or any of the one of the great many one things that we were told. It was there was this really cool guy named Doug Easterday. He was teaching a unit called the Father Heart of God. And it was just, he was a great storyteller. That's really what he did ultimately. And he was great at it. He really was. He told stories about his life and how his walk with the Lord. So one of the days, it was the last day that I was in his class. We talked about how much the Lord really does care for us, and went into a lot of different scriptures. And what really happened there at the last day was he gave me a word from the Lord, and I kind of waited in the back row. I'm like, this guy's really great, and I think the Lord is with him, but I'm not just going to take some random word as gospel truth. So I'm going to wait and see if the Lord is actually with this guy and with his words. So I kind of waited as everyone else went up, and I was like, dang. Like, knowing them, I'm like, wow, that was a really accurate word that he should have had no clue about. And so then I was like, I do know the Lord is with this guy, like, because there's no way he should have known and been so highly accurate with the multiple words he gave. So I was just praying in the back row. I'm like, man, Lord, you have set me free once before. Because when I first arrived, that tearing in the spirit I was telling you about a little bit ago, I was like, Lord, I'm not going to be useful in your kingdom if this is how I am. If I'm having this constant stress and constant war within me, I'm not going to be anything useful to the kingdom at all. Another unhealthy view, being useful for the kingdom, something we might talk about later. It's not about being for the kingdom. But he did set me free from that nonetheless. And that was just from his kindness. And
Meeting you where you're at.
Oh God, I felt the Holy Spirit there. And I just sobbed in the middle of freaking worship. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to let the tears adorn my face because I am so set free right now. I don't care. Because for the first time, that tearing was gone. And that was the first level of freedom I got. But when I was with Doug Easterday, I was like, okay, Lord, there's still something wrong. Because, if we're getting to the point where I was talking about earlier, where I'm like, I'm flipping out and things are only supposed to get worse throughout life. Like from what I had understood about life, I'm like, struggles get worse.
Yeah,
Fire only gets hotter. New level, new devil is what I had always heard. So I'm like, great. Well, if it just gets worse from here, I'm going to freaking kill myself because, there's no point. There's just no point if it just gets worse every time, is the way I was thinking. And I'm like, if it does get worse, I don't think I can handle it because I was already on the verge of like just freaking, oh God, it was just terrible. But anyhow,
battle.
it was so major and it was all the time. There was no break ever. There was no break. And I'm like, if it's supposed to get worse, I don't know what I'm going to do. And so that's the attitude I went into this class with also. I need to find a way to get free of this. And I have no clue how to do it, so you're going to have to do that, Lord. Because I have no clue how to do this. Like, I can't just set myself free. That's not something that can be done. If I had the keys, I would have opened up the cage already. And so I did. I prayed that prayer before he gave me a word. And I'm like, I have no clue what I need right now, Lord. So I know that you know what I need, though. So with your unlimited knowledge, please give me, I welcome you to give me whatever it is I need, whether it be, I don't know, a rebuke, which I found the Lord doesn't give me all that often. It's nice. God's not looking to hit you.
You mean he doesn't want to strike you with lightning?
No! It's so incredible! Wow! Yeah. Misconception I had about God.
He's not mad at you.
Lord, give me the words for this next part to really express what it is you gave me. I know I've been going off on rabbit trails, but the biggest moment I really got from YWAM was not just being set free, but he gave me a word about how the Lord had released me from the storm in my life, and I just didn't know I was released from it. And he's like, it's not getting worse. The fire of your youth is behind you. Like, the worst of it really is over. Because one struggle I had always had with God was, okay, I'm yours, right? Okay, technically. But at the same time, we both know that I have no other choice. Because if I left you, you and I both know I would be smacked right back into your arms because I can't handle what's out there. I can't handle, because if it gets worse, then we both know I'd end up dead. So I really don't have a choice in following you. Like we're here and I do follow you, but technically I have a choice. I could depart from you, but we both know that I really can't. And so that was the last struggle I had. And it wasn't like I'd gotten to the point with the Lord where I had realized he was good. And it wasn't like intensely, it wasn't like I was saying it with malice anymore. But he was like, I've rescued you from the fire of your youth, and it's over now. And now I've set you down in a chair. You are flying high above the storm on wings like an eagle. And now you have the choice to follow me. You can either go do your own thing, and the worst is behind you, so you can do whatever, pretty much, or you could choose to be by my side. You could choose to walk with me. And that's when I really found true freedom. Because it's like, wow, I'm not that there won't be struggles, but it's like he took the time to give me the option when he didn't have to. And I was like, dang. Like, of course.
So in other words, he wasn't going to punish you if you chose to walk away and you chose to do your own thing and live your own life. He wasn't going to punish you for that. He wasn't going to make your life hard just because you weren't choosing to walk with him.
He wasn't looking to strike me with lightning.
Yeah, he wasn't going to strike you with lightning.
And in that moment, I really did become free to pursue the Lord, not out of fear. Because, I had pursued him, and over the years, it had become out of fear. Because I'm like, I need you. And it wasn't for the right reasons. So in that moment, he set me free, and after that, I started to pursue him.
So you weren't following him now out of fear. It was more now out of love and actual genuine love and adoration because you had that choice or you got that option to start following. I'm just trying to help you pick up where you left off. Get in there. Get in there.
Okay. I want to make sure I'm not going on one thing forever and there's like another point you need to get to.
No, dude. You are the point.
Well, okay. But, oh my God, it's just... I had followed him for so many years with this attitude of we're here and I have to be here. And it's like, where are you, God? I don't know where you are. And I've been pursuing you faithfully for all these years. And I don't understand why I haven't found you. You say seek and you will find. Really? Will I? So, and it was a journey from starting with that moment in Sockham, going to Alaska, getting that small foundation, then going to YWAM where I really had the option to pursue him. And in that moment, he was able to set me free from all those terrible thoughts and the improper following him for the wrong reasons. And it was just, oh, God, it was so nice to just be free. To just be free. I can't I don't know how significant it sounds, or I can't pour out what it was like in that moment. And I find that's how a lot of relationship with God is. It's like there's just not words for it in any language. There's just not, because it's not for when you really start. For those of you who have been with the Lord for a while and you really know what it's like you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something you can express, but that sense of peace. I finally got that sense of peace that I had been longing for so long, and it wasn't something I was forced into. It was something I could choose now. It's something I had access to on a daily basis. It was the beginnings. It was the beginnings of a true relationship with Christ. Because you can have a relationship of fear, but that is not what we were built. That's not what we were built for. That entered post Eden. That fear was not meant to be a part of our relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
And
So you got to
Yeah.
get to a place where you were finally able to experience the be still and know that I am God.
Be still and know that I am God. It was so nice. It was so nice. And that's something I'm still learning to walk in. It's definitely not something I've mastered. I've
I
been
don't
gone
think any
6
of us
months.
have.
Been gone 6 months. Like, it's not something I've mastered. And it's something that you really need to tune into. Like, and it's not. I'm trying to find. There's something I need to express, and I'm trying to figure out what it is. It's not something. Like, I think a lot of the time we say, yes, the Lord, I'm surrendered. But we're not. But we truly think we are. Like, it's not something like, I feel like a lot of people aren't seeing breakthrough, and it's like they really think they're surrendered. And it's really interesting because they really are trying, and I'm not saying they're not, but there's something different about the surrender we're supposed to have. And
that kind of comes back to something that we talked about in the last episode. I think both of them. The phrase, Lord, I surrender, help me in my resistance.
well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Ah,
looks like
it's
looks
such
like
a
we're getting a
coincidence.
theme here. Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
But continue.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome.
And again, it's not that they're not surrendering, because I think they are, but it's just not quite how we're supposed to surrender.
So it's kind of like we have levels of surrender, and
I think it's a different kind of surrender.
yeah.
Because I know I said I was surrendering, and I was trying to surrender. I really was, but I wasn't necessarily like I was telling the Lord I'm surrendering, but it was something I was doing. Surrender is not an action as much as it is a state of being. From what at least from my experience, it becomes an action. Surrender is one of those things. You see all those mystical shows about how if you need to master the divine, you must first surrender to it. You know, Doctor Strange, all that weird stuff. But it's
Love it.
it becomes a state of being. It becomes something that you just are doing. It is also a thought pattern, it is an action, but surrender is something that when someone's drowning, and drowning is a bad thing, guys, but bear with me on this. If someone's drowning and they surrender to the waves, it's not struggling to breathe in the waves. It's simply we are surrendering to the waves. We are surrendering to everything around us. We are breathing it in. It's a surrender. You're not struggling to do something. You simply are doing it. You're simply being in the presence. You're
Breathing
simply
in
being
the Lord.
You're not struggling to surrender. Okay, I'm going to go
Fighting
sell
the
my house
waves.
and go to Africa and open up an orphanage because I'm surrendering everything. Like, that's not what you need to do. It's not an action that you're taking. Like it's an action, but the action is simply falling back and letting him overtake you, losing your identity in the Lord. Not that you're not an individual. You have the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. They're all three different people, but they're all also one. And that is the relationship that we were welcomed into in Eden. Like that's what we were welcomed into. And it's not something we strive for. It's something that we just lay over into the Lord. Salvation is not works, lest anyone should be able to boast. It's simply surrendering to that goodness and surrendering into being willing to remember that he really is a good God and taking security in that. And even when you're frightened on jumping off that cliff, just letting go and doing it. It's not, we're not clawing to surrender. We're letting go and surrendering.
Amen.
Yeah.
And that is a awesome place to stop right there. Just in everything that you said and in surrender, Be still and know that I am God. And who is God? God is love. He is mercy. He is joy. He is strength and provision. He is everything that we need. And when we surrender to that, when we breathe that in,
Just relax in his peace.
ooh,
Just relax.
just relax and let him take over for a while. Let him be the waves that take you back to shore. Oh, God, you are so good. And I want to take a moment to just say that Mark is my son, and I am so proud to be his mother. And you heard some of the struggle that he has been through. And you've heard some of the tearing that he described and his anger towards the Lord. And I, as his mother, was there to witness this and to pray for him and had my own struggles as his parent. And so I would invite you to tune in next time because you have heard his testimony today. And as his parent, as his mother, walking this road with him and this journey with him and being part of the other side and seeing where he is now and just the solid foundation that he has under him, where God can take him wherever he needs to, and he is going to be okay. I just want to encourage parents out there, grandparents, parental figures, whoever has somebody that they're praying for, that their heart is breaking for, that it is possible that God does move. So just come back for the next episode where I will give my testimony and just continue to encourage you to hold on to God and to surrender to his waves and breathe him in, because he will be not only your salvation, but the salvation of the ones you love.